you are in your thoughts 24 hours a day. You have no distractions. So when you're in an environment, you're in that bubble where you can't have television, you can't have phone, you can't have any of those things, you can't reach back to your family and your friends, and you are the oldest one and you don't have your people. So I was lonely. I was lonely from day 1 to day 66 in the house.
Welcome onto the sideline, everybody. I'm Matt Dowell, and I am so excited for this interview because we have one of reality TV's biggest names right now this summer, and also a diehard Gamecock fan in the house. He's a Gamecock podcaster, and he's fresh out of the Big Brother house. Captain Will joins me on set on our South Carolina Sideline podcast. What's up, Will?
Hey, brother. How you doing? I'm so pumped to be here.
I'm excited for you to be here. Man, I have to tell you, we're going to get into the Big Brother stuff in a little bit, but when I logged on to Twitter one day and saw you were going to be on that show, I was like, what? Will's going to be on Big Brother? Because we have followed each other for a long time just through the world of the Gamecocks. Yeah. And so I was like, no way. And then, you turn on the TV, there you are in the Big Brother house. It's crazy.
It was a crazy experience. And then obviously can't let anyone know that I was going to be on the show. Everything was hush hush. Everything was secret. So, the whole experience of Big Brother was mind-blowing. It was one of the most difficult things that I've ever done in my life. And this coming from a man who did 22 and a half years in the Army. Yeah. So this was, it was different. I would say it like that.
So the way this interview is going to work for everyone who's watching and listening is that Will is a diehard Gamecock fan. So I'm going to talk to him first about the Gamecocks, get his thoughts on his life as a fan, as a podcaster for Dawn Staley and her team. And then Jared is going to come in and he is going to interview you about Big Brother because Jared loves Big Brother. He's a diehard fan. He's got so many questions he wants the answers to. So Jared's going to get all the Big Brother information for you guys. But first, we're going to start with the Gamecocks because you had a huge following from Gamecock fans, from these Gamecock Nation for years before you were ever on Big Brother. But first, for everyone to get to know you a little bit, where are you from?
I'm originally from this little small, I guess, one stoplight town called Wallace, South Carolina. Crazy fun fact. Okay. Savell Newton.
Yeah.
Savell Newton.
Former quarterback,
University of South Carolina, Marlboro County great, from the same little town. I remember Savell when he was a little boy.
Really?
Me and his brother were best friends when we were kids. So I remember Savell as a little boy. That's a fun fact. So shout out to Savell. But small town, ended up going to Francis Marion University. Mm-hmm. Then I did like 2 years at Francis Marion. Then I went to the Army and served for 22 and a half years and had a successful career and retired about 4 or 5 years ago. So everything's been great.
That's awesome. And so for your love for the Gamecocks, when did you become a Gamecock super fan?
Super fan probably when I joined the Army.
Okay.
And we kind of gravitate towards, our teams when we're at certain events and we're at certain different duty stations and stuff. Now, I was always a Gamecock fan, even when I was a little boy. My brother Marvin, a Clemson fan. So we've been going back and forth for years and years and years. And still to this day, I still give him hell about that. But it's just it got magnified when I was in the Army. And when I was away, so you have me stationed, let's say Iraq, and I was deployed to Iraq in 2008, and the time difference. So I was able to watch some of the Gamecock games in Iraq, but I was getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning to watch the game. So that was a surreal experience, and I've just been a fan forever. I mean, I go way back. I mean, even when we weren't any good in football and especially, in basketball terms, but I can't even, maybe when I was 10, 12, 15, when I really okay, this is my team.
So now you are really, really a diehard for Dawn Staley and the women's basketball team. And you have a podcast that is focused on the Gamecocks. Is it just women's basketball focused? Do you dive into all sports? How does it work in your world?
No, I would say 99%. South Carolina women's basketball. Dawn Staley, I've been rocking her since 1992.
Okay.
I've been following her career forever. So when I decided to actually do a podcast just focused on Gamecocks, women's basketball, it was I was trying to fill a niche that wasn't there. My wife and I had a great conversation. We was visiting our daughter in Fort Lewis, Washington. She's a soldier as well. And we just trying to just figure out what should I do. And I was like, maybe I should do football. Maybe I should do, men's basketball. And she was like, no, you love women's basketball. Why don't you just do that? And I was like, ding, ding, ding. That's what I'm going to do. And I've been doing it ever since.
So have you been following them since she got here in 2008? Has it been, have you been following Dawn and her growth with this team from day one when she got here?
Yes. Yes. And then when she got hired, I was deployed to Iraq. But I got the news, obviously. And I knew that it was a game changer for the program. I knew because at that time, we weren't any good.
Yeah.
And she changed everything. It was increment growth over time. But once that growth and when she put her footprint on it, we knew we was going to be on point.
Well, your strategy has worked really, really well because your podcast, Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will, has 56.4 thousand subscribers on YouTube. And I have to say, because I've known you since before you were on Big Brother, the majority of those subscribers were there before you were ever on reality TV, before you ever got this big platform. Yeah. People found you, they found your voice, they found your show, and they clearly are connecting with what you're doing. Why do you think that people are connecting with your podcast so much, and how are you able to build such a big following?
I think because I'm different. I have fun. Every time I'm gonna do a show tonight. I mean, I'm talking about Chloe, but I don't try. I make mistakes. I have fun with those mistakes. I remember when I first started, I tried to be perfect. I wanted to be the Mike Greenberg of podcasting. I dude, that's not me. I'm funny. I'm crazy. I like to have fun, and I want to give the audience something that they're not getting. So they're getting the information, but they're getting it in a fun way, so to speak. Sometimes when we have victories, I do a shot. I mean, who does that? You know what I'm saying? So we get a new recruit, I'm doing a shot. So I'm celebrating everything. And also, I'm very protective of these girls. So I have 3 daughters. So if you come for my girls, I have a problem with that. So my audience understands that. Most of them, I would say a good 70% of my audience are 35 and older. So I have a middle-aged, passionate middle-aged crowd that loves the way I deliver the message, and I'm going to stick with it. Yeah. And I don't plan on changing ever.
You're authentic as well. And I think we're kind of in this era of authenticity around all media. And I think people are searching for authenticity in the things that they digest, what they consume in media. And I think that you bring that authentic personality, which I think is why you have connected with fans so much, but also, why America loved you on Big Brother. Yeah. I think that they saw that you're just the real deal and you are what you are, and they connect with that. And I think that that is a huge part of how you've been able to build this platform for Gamecocks. And you speak for a lot of the fans. You call it like it is. You say it how you see it. And did it take you a while to find that voice and to being like, I'm just going to keep it real and say what I think. And I'm not going to care what the reaction is to that.
Oh, my God. Yes, it did. It did take me a while. And I just... If you look at some of my old videos, like, what the hell am I doing? But,
relatable.
Yeah. But I just try to, over time, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
This is the way I think. And once I bring that energy and once I bring that passion, my real self, and not try to be like somebody else. There's so many different podcasts. There's so many different sports folks out there who are similar. And I just try to be different with that and try to keep it real. And folks will tell me if I'm not being who I am, if I'm trying to change. And when I came out to Big Brother house, it's like, Will, don't try to be all Hollywood now. Yeah. Don't do all these things. I said, no, I'm going to be who I am because I'm too old to change. I can't change. That's who I am.
So you love the Gamecock women's basketball team, especially in the last 10 years. They've had so many big moments, so many great moments. Yeah. What are your favorite Gamecock women's basketball moments?
Oh, gosh. I mean, so many. We were talking about the championships, obviously. That we can start there. But so many great players who have had amazing performances on and off the court. The passion of the fans. Being at, and I try to tell my people, being at a South Carolina women's basketball game in Colonial Life Arena is an experience. And I've done all the sports. I've done soccer. I've done boxing, football. I've done it all. But being there amongst 17,000 fans, going insane is different. SEC championship game, Camila Cardozo. Well, it was
The semis, yeah.
Yeah, the semis. That was unreal. There is video of me doing the swag and surf. There are videos of me running up and down the stands, high-fiving folks. It was unbelievable. That was probably, that was the most fun I've ever had at any sporting event in my life when she had that shot.
Yeah, I tell people too, I was courtside for that game. I had my entire web story written. I had all my posts ready to go. I was like, well, undefeated season's over. Time to get ready for the NCAA tournament. Yes. Tennessee's going to beat them. And they had played Tennessee like 3 times in 3 weeks or something.
Yes.
And so I was like, well, this is the loss. It happens, whatever. And then she hit that shot. I mean, you can't script a 6'7" center hitting a three-pointer buzzer beater. It was unbelievable. That's definitely one of my top sporting moments to be part of. I just sat there jaw dropped for a good, I think, 5 minutes. I had to I had to delete everything, erase everything. So that was a good one.
Start completely over. Yeah.
Yeah. How often do you get to go watch them in person? Because you're based in Charlotte.
Yeah. I try to go to a couple games a month.
Oh, okay.
But then like last season, maybe we probably saw about 20 games. We went to all SEC championship. We went to Birmingham. We saw all those games. Went to the Final Four in Tampa. Went to see all those games. So I was feeling some type of way when the confetti was falling and Connecticut was enjoying that whole moment. So that was tough. But to cap it all off, I mean, come on, we still went to the championship game.
Yeah,
it wasn't the result that we wanted, but this year I plan on doing 15 to 20 games. We'll see how that goes, but that's the plan.
So speaking of this year, you mentioned it a little earlier that you are going to have your full reaction to Chloe Kitts and the big news from today on your podcast. But I need you to play analyst for me here for a second, because if you're just joining us, if you haven't heard or seen, we're filming this on a Monday, and this morning, Chloe Kitts announced that she tore her ACL and that she is out for this upcoming season. It is a massive blow for the South Carolina women's basketball team that is already without Ashlyn Watkins going into the season. So it's a blow to the depth in the post especially, but also to have that experience, a senior who's been a starter for the past 2 years. There was a picture going around last week of Chloe, I think it was at the South Carolina volleyball game, in a full knee brace. Some questions were starting to be asked, and we got that answer today. So Chloe Kitts is out for the season. It is really, really unfortunate that yet another ACL injury has taken out another star from the game going into the season. But Will, what are your thoughts on the news from Chloe and how it affects the Gamecocks this season?
I was, getting myself together this morning when I got the tweet, and I was like, oh no. First thing I thought about was her parents, and because I met her parents, great people, and being a parent, you feel for your child. So I get how they're feeling today, but in the sports aspect, it's huge. Chloe was going to have a all SEC type year. She averaged 10.7 rebounds. She offensive rating 120, defensive rating of 80. I mean, she had a great year last season. And this is the part that we're going to miss. Chloe played about 21 minutes per game. But those 21 minutes were effective minutes. Her PER was high. She was our best perimeter defender going into the season. People don't realize how good of a defender she is. We're going to miss those things from Chloe. It's a tough blow, and when I saw the picture last week, I was like, I just got out the Big Brother house. I'm trying to get adjusted, and I saw it. I was like, oh my God. And then I saw it when it happened, and she released it right before SEC Media Day, which is great. So you can take that narrative on out, going to answer the questions. It's tough. It's hard. And we get in the propensity of ACL injuries on females, high-profile females getting these ACL injuries. And with Chloe out, with Ashlyn out, we have something that's uncommon for us, and using the model from last year, it's uncommon for us because now depth will be challenged in the post position. Yeah. Yes, we have Miriam Dada. Yes, we have Medina Ogad. Yes, we have those players. We have Adele Tag, but you have a proven commodity in Chloe. He was an all-SEC, potentially an all-American player who won't be playing at all this season. It's time for Joyce to do what I think Joyce can do. Yeah. I'm so pleased that we have a player who I believe was number 1 recruit in the country. You can say Sarah Strong, you can go back and forth with that, but I believe that Joyce we'll be having an all-American type season, and we'll step up because somebody got to get those 21 minutes.
Yeah, and I think rebounding is going to be a big part of this
yes.
conversation, especially without Chloe. And I also think that was my biggest thing is take Chloe out of it, and now Ashlyn. This is a team that historically has 13, sometimes 15 players on the roster.
Yes.
They're down to 10 going into the season. Not a lot of players on the roster for this upcoming season. So, they will be getting more minutes as a result of this, but we're going to see how that impacts the famous depth, as you mentioned, of Dawn Staley.
It's tough. It's hard. It's something that we haven't experienced in really in the Dawn Staley era.
Yeah.
Well, we got to actually.
They don't get injured a lot.
No,
the
they
Gamecocks.
don't. The biggest things were, okay, we had Camila Cardozo going over to play internationally. We had a player or two who would miss a game or so because of an injury or random academic thing. But we haven't went into a season where we have two players who we know were going to be stars for this basketball team going to be on the bench. That is so tough right now. Some folks have told me, like on my podcast, oh, Cap, we need to shorten the bench. Give some of these players, give our stars more minutes and things of that nature. This year might be a time where that actually happens. My fear is this season, because injuries are going to happen. Mm-hmm. Players are going to get injured. Players are going to be nicked up. We are somewhat lacking now in the post position. If Joyce goes down for a game or two, this changes the whole dynamic of this basketball team. It's going to be an interesting season. But make no mistake about it. Keep it real. The basketball team is loaded.
Yeah.
We got 10 5-star recruits on this basketball team. We are going to do some things. So don't get it twisted. I'm still happy.
We'll see too how the freshmen step up. The newbies to the roster. With only 10 on the roster, how are they going to step up and take advantage of maybe some more minutes this season? And I know they kind of go back and forth between that guard forward position,
right.
But they might have to make some adjustments going forward. So we'll see about that. Before that news broke about Chloe, I asked you coming into this interview to give me your hot takes on the South Carolina women's basketball team going into this new season. I don't know if they've changed with this news because it's some pretty big breaking news, but give me Captain Will's hot takes for South Carolina women's basketball.
Well, it changed because now with Chloe's injury, I think that Joyce is going to be All-American. I think it's going to be a given. I think that Joyce has potential this year to be SEC Player of the Year. There are some terrific players in the SEC, but I think Joyce, with the minutes that she's going to be given, because there's no way that Joyce can be playing 21 minutes this season. If Joyce Edwards gets 30-plus minutes this year, she's going to put numbers that are on par with Madison Booker, with Flage, with these other great players that we perceive them being great, but they just play. Because that's something I go back and forth with a lot on my show. You have these players getting 35, 36 minutes. They put in these astronomical numbers, but our girls are getting 19, 20 minutes. But if you do per minute, on a per minute basis, our girls are on par with them. But I think this is going to be the year of Joyce, and she's going to ball out. I think that Raven Johnson is going to play like she played 2 years ago. I think she's going to have an astronomical year. I think her homegirl is back with Tanaya Lassen. They're going to do this whole AAU state title thing and being comfortable. And Raven has something to prove because last year was not a Raven type year. This year, she is going to ball out. I mean, I can do so many. I think Medina Gott is going to ball out for us. We have a 6'6" center who can ball. She averaged a double-double last season, with 19, 20 minutes per game. Oh, that is something that we missed against UConn. Mm-hmm. There was no threat. There was no inside presence that to say, okay, no, you're not going to go to the basket. Sarah Strong was almost doing whatever the hell she wanted to do. Medina Gott is going to be so great for us. And I hear that she's a great passer. I know she's a great rebounder.
Good mover.
A good mover, yes. Adele Tack has changed her body. Adele Tack, and I said this for 2 years, Adele Tack has been injured. So much, 11th grade year, 12th grade year, and she was doing so much rehab in the offseason. This is the first season that Adele Tack did not have to rehab. She just got bigger, faster, and stronger. Her body looks different. She did Body by Molly, and she looks amazing. I think she's going to prove why she was, at a time, during 11th grade year, a top 10 overall recruit. I'm so excited. I don't know if you know, but I'm so excited.
Man, I'm ready to go. Is it November 4th? I mean, I think we're all ready to go to the CLA after that.
Oh my God.
And you can see why he has such a big fan base and why he has so many subscribers to his YouTube channel, because this is the energy you bring to every single podcast episode of yours. As we transition to the Big Brother part of this conversation, you shouted Dawn and the team out on the show.
Yeah.
Was that an organic moment? Did you know, okay, at some point I'm going to shout out my team? How did that all go down, and why did you want to do that?
It was organic. I thought, well, let me say, let me pull the curtain back a little bit. You have like a short amount of time when you're voting to evict people. And I had a conversation with Rachel Riley, and Rachel Riley, great friend. She's been on Big Brother 3 times, and she told me, well, Will, like, what they're gonna do? They're gonna cut you off? just sit there and say who you shouting out, and just go there, and then you get up and leave. Because most folks will shout out who they're saying while they're running out of the door. And I was like, no, I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna shout out Dawn Staley. I'm gonna shout out the South Carolina women's basketball team, the three-time national champions. I'm gonna get it all out and make it very clear, because the world needs to know who we are. The world needs to know that we are an elite program, that we won championships, and that women's basketball is important. And it is not about if I had the ability at that point in time, and I had some other stuff planned, but I got evicted from the house. But the world, it just felt like the right time at the right moment.
Yeah.
And then production fussed at me a little bit, but I didn't care. It's already out, so it's fine. And I heard that Dawn Staley got asked about it and said some things, and she started following me on social media, so that's amazing. And again, I mean, this is South Carolina women's basketball.
Yeah.
I want the world to know that we're the best.
So you have heard from Dawn.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
What'd she say? Did she have anything?
Any
A specific shout out, or was it just the follow on social media?
Well, she got to follow on social media, and then she said, and basically said that she was watching me on the show. It was a tweet, and I'm gonna hit her up. And I know she's busy. I know Dawn is crazy busy, but I'm gonna hit her up soon, and I'm gonna ask her potentially about going to a practice. I would love to see a practice, kind of get a behind the scenes type thing. But I'm gonna ask her. But
Yeah. Come with us. You know, we get to see the last 10 minutes or so of some practices. So I don't know, just ride with us. And
too easy.
come along to practice. We're gonna do a quick switcheroo here, because now we're gonna get into all of the Big Brother storylines, all the questions that you guys want answers to. Jared's gonna come in the seat here and ask you all of the Big Brother questions. So we're gonna take a quick time out here on South Carolina Sideline. On the other side of this ad break, we'll get into all of the Big Brother-ness of it all.
I love that Big Brother-ness.
I'm Jared Parker, still here with Captain Will. Now we get into the Big Brother talk, the juicy stuff.
Oh, okay.
So let's just start off real easy. How'd you become a fan of Big Brother?
Oh my gosh, I was watching it. I've probably been watching Big Brother 15, 17 years. So not religiously, but I've been a fan for a long time. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I wanted to do when I was younger, but I didn't have the ability to do it when I was younger because I was in the service. But my wife and I were having a conversation, it's like, okay, I'm actually going to try. I'm going to put an application in and see what happens. And the rest is history, honestly. They chose me. I went through the whole interview process and things like that. And I wouldn't change anything about the whole being in the house. It was a surreal experience. It's something that, because it's a small group. It's a small alumni. Even though it's been on for 25 years, you still have, roughly 12 to 15 people who has been in that house. And some of those people have been in multiple times, but I'm now part of that family, and it's so crazy. It's awesome.
Can you walk us through the application process a little bit? Because obviously some of the more diehard fans, we've seen it, but for those who don't know. Okay,
so let me break it down like this right here. I auditioned, I sent my audition tape in February this year. I got the call that I made it to the first round in April. And I was actually, when I got the call, my wife and I, we were at Best Buy. I was doing a WNBA watch party for Tina Pow. So we were in Oceanside. So I had to get another mic for the podcast. I got the call, say, hey, you made it to the first round or whatever. So that was the first thing. And then after that, there are a series of other steps you got to take to get to the true audition process that happens in LA. And it's a lot of different people. I mean, you have thousands upon thousands of people who audition for that show. And to get to the final 25, is a lot. And then you're interviewing in front of various different producers and things like that to get to the final casting. And I was very humbled by the whole experience. And once I found out, I mean, if you go, you really don't find out that you made it until almost the last minute.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like, hey, Will, you made Big Brother, now go get packed. It's like weeks out in advance. You kind of prepping for it because you want it so badly. But it's just so many steps that goes on to you being on the show itself.
So there's almost no mental preparation once you figure out it's just
it's go time. It's go time. It's like, okay, some of the things you see on the show when you get your key. Yes, I got my key. It was recorded. It was filmed and everything. They came to the house and did all those things. But I didn't know for sure I was on the show, even at that point, because you have alternates, you have real people. You have the real cast and you have the alternates. And I didn't know. But thank God I made it, though.
So then stepping away from your podcast, because I just think about so many things and stepping away from home, all these news pieces that were coming out while you were on the show.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I know Will would be live right now
Oh my God.
talking about this stuff and you're there. So what was that like, just stepping away from everything and being sequestered in the house for 66 days for you plus the jury house?
Bro, it was unbelievable. Whereas you have no phone, you have no television, you have no way of knowing anything that's going on out in the outside world. We are truly in a bubble in that house. It was so uncomfortable being, you're just vulnerable. You don't know anything. You don't know what's going on the personal side. I miss my wife every single hour on that show. And that's why I was shouting her out. So my chocolate drop, because, my kids, my grandkids, my mom and dad, my brother and sister, everyone. So you just, and then throw in the piece where you are being recorded 24 hours a day. Throw in the piece where you're wearing a microphone all the time. Throw in the piece where you got, cameras following your every single move. And then me being the oldest member on the cast, trying to navigate my way through these young folk. It was a lot that was going on in the house.
I know you talked about just the dynamic being the oldest one there, but you ended up making a lot of great relationships.
Yes.
What was it like navigating that, knowing, although I'm the oldest one here, there's still a lot from these relationships you can...
Yeah, I mean, I made some great friends in the house, and folks will always, fall back on with my daughters. I always call my daughters Ashley and Ava. They were my girls, and I talked to Ashley a couple of days ago. We're gonna hook up in December. I'm gonna look at. I've talked to Ava last week, but I was close with Rachel. I was close with Zach. I was close with a lot Morgan. I was close with several people, but I didn't have my true peer group in the house. You had, I call them the kids because most. 10 of the 17 house guests were 25 and under. I didn't have those people where I could chop it up. I didn't have those ones that I can, just have some of the same problems that I had. I got comfortable with Rachel because Rachel was, she was married. She had 2 kids. So we were very similar in that aspect. But the first 3 weeks of the house, I was in my feelings. I was feeling, I wasn't sleeping, and the fans of Big Brother know I was a have-not the first week, so I'm sleeping on a car, on a freaking cutout, and on the top of a desk, and I wasn't, and then you have-not, you don't eat food, you eating slop, so that was my first week in the house, so it was a challenge with that, and obviously missing your family, missing your kids, and my wife and everything was a lot. But after those first few weeks, I stopped trying to necessarily fit in, and I let them fit in with me. And I became more of the father figure. I became the cool uncle, and that helped me out so much in the house because they started gravitating to me versus me trying to fit in with them. I couldn't stand their crazy jokes, the fart jokes, and all this other crap they was doing in the house. But what I did was, I would some of the kids would say that I wish I can talk to my dad the way I talk to you, or you feel like my father, and that felt so great to me, and it made my experience so much better. Zach, who gave me the trip to London, which we're going to do for our anniversary in July. That was amazing. He's such a great kid, and I'm going to hook up with Zach in December as well. But when those people started leaving me, it was like a part of me left as well, and they made the house so much tougher. But I wouldn't change anything. It made the experience that I had was for me, and it made me grow differently in the house. And I think it made me a better person. It made me more patient as well.
Now, I wanted to. Have you watched back the show yet at all?
I watched one episode. I told the first episode. That's all I've watched. Honestly, I don't know if I can watch it. In the house, I was saying I'm never going to watch it. I'm never going to watch it. And I don't know, because it's tough seeing yourself on television, number one. And then it's like, I've lived it. I've lived every second of it. So I was like, do I want to go open those wounds? Do I want to go back and hear some of the diary? Okay, I do want to hear some of the diary room sessions.
I think you do.
I do want to hear some diary room sessions, because some things you just want to know. Maybe in a few months, maybe after basketball season, I'll go back and watch the whole thing.
Okay. Well, I want you to know you got a very favorable edit. Obviously, I think you see that with the America's Favorite player results
awesome
as well. I was asking that because there were some very funny edits, and I'm sure Gwen saw as well, as when they're talking to you and you're in the diary room just saying the same conversations happening over and over again. I mean, how monotonous do those conversations get after being in there for weeks at a time?
We start repeating the same conversations, sometimes multiple times a day. So we're not creating new stuff, so we're constantly, it's gameplay all the time. And sometimes you just don't want to do gameplay. Sometimes you just want to chill. Sometimes you just want to relax by the pool. Sometimes, but you have some folks who didn't really sleep, who just constantly gameplay. And then we're talking about the same situation, the same scenarios that I just talked about yesterday. Nothing's changed, from that day to the next day. And then with me, with the game itself, you're being pulled from various different, directions because of the alliances that you have. So sometimes you cannot say what you want to say to these people, because you've promised these other people, like we had the Judges Alliance.
Right.
So the Judges Alliance was myself, and with Rachel, and with Ashley, with Vinny and Morgan, but that's my alliance. But Ava was my number one person in the house, so I was never gonna go against Ava, because she's my girl. So I'm balancing that act as well. But back to what you were saying about the conversations, it just gets crazy. And if you're looking like, didn't we just talk about this like 3 hours ago? Like, what has changed? Or it's time. I'm the old head, so I'm going to bed early. So it be times I'm ready for bed. I'm chilling. I'm going to bed. And then Morgan will come over and say, well, are you asleep? Like, girl, yeah, I'm asleep. I'm asleep. But then, I just want to talk to you. I want to run something by you. So I gotta be pleasant. I gotta acknowledge, because we're working together. And she'll tell me this whole scenario, because Morgan was on 10 the whole season. And I had to respect her for that. And she was Morgan's one of the most awesome people I've met in that game. And but her game, her mind was just constantly going. And sometimes I gotta let it rest.
Maybe that's the former D1 athlete.
Yes, it was. I mean, she was treating it. And then when I found out that she was a gamer, because she never told anybody she was a gamer. So she was a gamer. She's a D1 athlete, track athlete, great in basketball. So her mind just going, like a video game. And after the game, we had dinner with her and her parents, who are wonderful people. And that, it revealed more to me about the whole picture of Morgan, because you don't know. People come in this house and they reveal what they want to reveal. I actually didn't tell people that she was a lawyer. Vinny, Jimmy didn't reveal what his real job was. People are holding back secrets, and it's, so you don't know what to believe sometimes in the house.
Now, I do want to get to that Ashley being a lawyer part, but before we get to that, I remember you said in your interview when you were in the jury house, you said you felt like Ashley had the most to do in order to win the game.
Yeah.
Obviously now,
yes,
she's won the game.
Yes.
So, I mean, what were those conversations like in the jury house, and then seeing her be in the final two, not just be in the final two, beat Vinny and Morgan in the head of household competition to get there? Like, how much did that convince the jury, like, okay, she's made her way here?
It was a done deal. It was, there was not a scenario in, if Vinny was in the final two against Ashley or Morgan, that he was going to win. The jury, he had pissed off so many people in the jury that he wasn't going to get the votes. The biggest question was if Ashley went against Morgan. That's when there was actually going to be a actual dilemma in the jury of who we were going to choose. If it was Morgan and Vinny, Morgan would have got every vote. If it was Morgan and Ashley, I'm not quite sure how that would have shook in. But in regards to Ashley won the veto week 1.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, she was in a really good spot in the house, and she was in the Judges Alliance, and then even like when Ashley and I were on the block at the same time, which was terrible. But I was initially going to stay, and then I woke up the morning of the eviction. I'm like, oh no, we're going to change our mind. Morgan and Vinny have changed their mind. They're going to vote Ashley out because they figured that Morgan and Vinny figured that it was easier to beat Ashley versus me in terms of sitting, which was probably true. But Ashley going to the final 3, winning when she had to win, because I relayed to Ashley, it doesn't matter how many times you win. It matters when you win.
Yeah.
And she won when she had to win. And she stepped up and she won those two events. She brought Vinny in. And it was just, okay. How do we split this vote? How do we figure out that she is the one? And it wasn't. And when she got up and did her speech, it was a wrap. You give the lawyer her time to talk, it was over. And Vinny, it was nothing Vinny could say at that point. And if you looked at the numbers, of course I was going to vote for her. Rachel was pitching for Ashley all the time in the jury house.
Okay.
The whole time we was there, she was pitching for Ashley. So it was just a matter of when Lauren came in, when Kelly came in, and then we found out more information in reference to how Vinny screwed over Lauren, and she was so angry. So there was no way she was gonna vote. And then being Kelly, she was so angry with him as well.
Final twos.
It was, yeah. When you have so many final twos with so many people, you're gonna screw over some people, and that's what Vinny did. And he played so hard, but he was really playing for number 2. He was playing for second place in every scenario of those three folks.
Now, the final night, I tweeted or threads, either or.
Mm-hmm.
I said I thought that Vinny would win, but then I retracted that because I was like, wait a second. Ashley is a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this speech is about to be everything.
Yes.
And I really felt like Ashley went above and beyond with her speech.
Yes.
And I felt like Vinny he was given some moments where I thought, when he was asked about being emotionally manipulative, where I felt like, I'm just assuming, I felt like you all would have respected it more if he owned it.
Yes.
But he kind of went against it. Like, how much did those speeches really seal the deal?
Well, see, this was, if Vinny would have, how can I say? We go into great preparation in deciding those questions. So we are tailoring those questions for individuals for them to show what they did in the house in order for us to award you $750,000. That is a lot of money. That is life-changing money. So we're not just going to hand you the money, but you also have to tell us, what did you do in order to earn that money? If Vinny would have came out and owned it, like you just said, the emotional manipulation, if you say, dude, I was the villain, this is what I did, and that's how it happened, I think he would have gotten maybe an additional vote or so. He might have pulled Lauren in. He might have pulled Kelly in. I don't think he would have won, but I think the vote would have been better, but he never owned that. Ashley owned it. Ashley, you know, because there was a scenario even with Zingbot saying that Rachel pulled her along. Ashley owned everything she did in the house. And when Vinny did not own that, he could have said it was his time to say, okay, I did this, Morgan did this, or you show every move that you made in the house. Because we were confused in the jury house. Okay, like, is it Morgan's move? Is it Vinny's move? Is it a joint effort? So we were all confused. I think during that a minute and a half was his opportunity to really show America what I actually did. And if it was bad or if it made him look worse, because, and let's keep it real, Vinny was already looking bad from the personal side anyway. But his gameplay, he could have like just take more ownership of it, and he might have got a couple extra votes.
Now, I wanted to ask, as far as strategy alliances go, obviously we see some alliances come and fizzle quickly, like the Burger Boys.
Oh, God.
I mean, did you ever feel like that was something that was going far with that alliance there?
It's just so weird in the house, the Burger Boys, and you know, we try to figure it out. Week 1, week 2, we don't have a clue. We don't know each other. And me and Zach got close because we was have-nots. Mm-hmm. So I trusted him immensely. Adrian, great kid. So I trusted him. And Zay is Zay. You know, I felt that the Burger Boys could be something. But when Zay went against Rachel and was going at Rachel, even though she wasn't on the block, I was like, oh my God, what is Zay doing? What did I align myself? And then on the first vote, I voted to keep Zay. I was like, oh God, am I going to be the next one to leave? Because the mistakes that you make in that game is magnified. The willpower, I like, when me, Zach and Adrian, that was destroyed by Lauren. We were in the bond, and she put both of us up. I'm like, so alliances come and go. It is really alliances are important when you see it disintegrating and you pivot to another alliance, and that's what happened with the judges. The judges, I told Vinny, like, hey, just give it a couple weeks because she wanted Rachel out. He wanted Rachel out so bad.
Oh yeah,
so bad, and Rachel wanted him out. But I say it's power in numbers, and if we can continue this movement with the judges for a few weeks, we can protect everyone. If Rachel, this is the honest to God truth, if Rachel wouldn't have went home with that Maze thing, the judges would have been top 5. We would have figured out a way to get top 5. I would never have took a shot at Ava. That was never going to happen, but somebody else would have took a shot at Ava. It never got that far, but we had 3 people in the judges in the final 3, you know, which is a testament of our alliance. It's just the whole Rachel dynamic messed stuff up because she was not even supposed to go during that time frame. She was supposed to go first. And if Rachel would have went first, it would have been like a pecking order. But Vinny, with Ava choosing Vinny choosing Lauren, everything was out of whack. If that whole thing, and just say if it's a scenario where a Keanu or a Kelly went home instead of Rachel, we would have had the numbers to control the rest of the game. But we can't play Monday morning quarterback. We can't go backwards. It happened the way it was supposed to happen, and Ashley ended up winning the game. And I love that girl, and I'm so proud of her winning that game.
Now, I do have to ask about that twist because I think that was one of the most pivotal moments during the game, and not just for what it was, but for the fact that it got rid of Rachel,
yes,
who was one of the biggest players.
Yes.
So, I mean, I want to dive into that kind of deep. Yeah. How much of a shock was just everything from the conversations with Ava once she got to make that selection to what ended up transpiring?
It was chaos. It was straight up chaos. Shout out to the production staff for doing that, because that was a surreal time that night. That happened maybe 2:00 in the morning. It was,
wow.
It was crazy. We were tired. We were exhausted. Maybe not 2:00 in the morning. Maybe 11 or 12.
But I know Mickey had just left.
Mickey had left. It was like a couple-hour break. Between that time, they were finishing everything outside. We didn't know what was outside. We just knew something was going to happen. Because typically in the past, I assume that we knew the numbers, so we knew that when finale was gonna be.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people, so it's gonna be some type of double, and we had it in our mind. So when we went out to, they gave us the cool clothes and everything. So we went out, and it was the white locust playoff white lotus. It was so beautiful, and we had the food and everything, and we're chilling. I was like, okay, y'all need to eat, because we're gonna do something. Something's gonna happen tonight. They're not just gonna have this nice stuff out here and let us chill and everything, because somebody gotta go home. It's gonna be some type of double. And then when the mastermind came on, I was like, oh hell, here we go. And then when Tyler came out, oh, this is really real. So Ava ended up winning the shuffleboard thing. Okay, so she was able to pick the first person. When we're trying to decide who's the first person, here's the thing. Ava took exception to the way Rachel kind of pulled her. And Rachel and Ava never had a great relationship anyway. I tried to massage that and just say, Ava, she didn't really mean it, things like that. But Ava is something. She gonna feel the way she's gonna feel. And she felt some type of way. So she's like, she was not gonna choose Rachel at all. So she ended up choosing Vinny. And when Vinny, we thought, was going to choose Morgan, and then Morgan, so you got the 6 minutes and 30 seconds,
right.
You got the 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So you get both of those two out the way, and then we can kind of go to the other side of the house and start picking folks off. But it never happened. When Rachel, we just took for granted that Rachel was going to do it. Like, okay, this Rachel Riley, she has to do it. Here's the thing. Ashley and I didn't know if we were going to get chosen. It was like, we felt that it's a potential that we could get chosen around 2.5 minutes, minute and a half. We don't know. So Ashley and I are actually packing our clothes to leave. We're putting our stuff in the suitcase to leave. Because what you don't want to be with the situation that Rachel had when she was quote unquote sacrificed. When it came out on the loudspeakers that Rachel was sacrificed, the house stopped. I don't know if it made the show, but Ashley had like 3 or 4 dresses in her hand. She's walking one way, I'm walking the other direction to pack our stuff, and everybody just stopped. The house was like you could hear a pin drop, so to speak. Everybody was in shock of it happening, that Rachel was leaving, because Rachel at that point had never been nominated.
Right.
Never been nominated at all, and now she's gone. So we're like, oh man, what happens? I didn't know how close her and Keanu was during the game, and I really didn't find it out into the jury house. So Keanu was in shock.
It doesn't seem like Rachel found out.
Yeah, like it was just crazy. So we went outside and saying our goodbyes, and that was emotional with her leaving and stuff. And then we had to pack her stuff. Rachel had 20 dresses. She had so many. So many dresses.
She was in a new fit.
Oh my God, she was so extra with those dresses. So who packs her stuff? Me and Ashley, because we're the two closest to her. So we're trying to cram all her stuff into her suitcase, these other bags that she has, and also deal with the shock of her leaving. That was a double elimination with Mickey leaving and Rachel leaving. So everything was in an uproar. And so it was very emotional, and it was something that I thought we could control, but we didn't control. And that was pretty much the downfall of the judges on that given night with Rachel leaving.
Now, as far as what America was saying, because obviously I know you said you haven't watched it, and I imagine you probably weren't scrolling to see what everyone was saying.
No.
As far as X, all the social platforms, a lot of people were saying this is the worst twist ever.
Really?
Yes. Like
to get Rachel out?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were mad that it got Rachel out. Personally, I was okay with Rachel leaving only because she's won before. She's given us enough great TV.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see the backdooring and the conniving. And so I felt like even if whether you were rooting for or against Rachel, I feel like we were kind of robbed of some great TV by that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the twist overall from a production standpoint?
Being there in the moment of everything that was going on, it was awesome. But being that one of my closest allies leaving the game in the way that she left sucked. It was terrible, and I wanted it to get to. Let's go backwards a little bit. Having 3 nominees is great television, but being in the house is terrible. You go backwards with Jimmy. Jimmy nominated 5 people.
Yeah.
It was terrible. You're nominating so many people, and then you this season it put the competition, the onus on winning the competition is so important. It took away a little bit from the social game. That's what messed Ava up a lot. She was like, this turned into the challenge because we're so focused on the competition and taking away the social aspect of it. Excuse me. But with that being said, it was great. I guess America liked it because the ratings went up. Rachel leaving the game the way she did, I agree with you. I do agree with you because you wanted the scenario because she didn't lose. Okay, Rachel didn't lose.
Yeah.
Nobody put her
voted out. That,
No.
like, it's Big Brother, you get voted out.
Yeah, she didn't lose. She was never nominated, but she left the game. She wasn't evicted. She left on her own accord because she couldn't do a competition. So that leaves a dry mouth. But I tell you the truth. I mean, in the jury house, you never got her out, and she was quick to say that. You never got her out. So, if we would, okay, I would say this: you don't want the most popular person leaving the house at that point. So I assume that they had to pivot and do some other things, and maybe that's why we got more shine in the jury house, or herself and myself in the jury house. But Rachel not being evicted the traditional way, kind of like a sour taste.
Yeah,
it really did, and especially when folks had opportunity to put her up and didn't put her up. You know, like, but the kids were in awe of Rachel. Lauren, a super fan, she was in awe of her. Some folks never heard of her because they didn't watch the show back in the day. When I saw her, I was like, oh my God, because I remember watching it at 12. I was like, okay, this is Rachel Riley. And when she chose me to be a have-not, I was like, okay, let's rock this. But she's a great person. Rachel is a sweet, sweet person. She's not 25 anymore, like in 12 and then in season 13. She's 40. She's a married woman with 2 kids. And I saw her being vulnerable in the show where she was missing her family so much. And it took a toll on her. So I just want everyone to know that she's such a great person. And what you saw 15 years ago is not the person that she is now.
Now, I do want to talk about it because you've been a fan for that long. I can remember I watched with my nano since I've been young. The Big Brother, though, I think it's kind of a symptom maybe of the social media age. The Big Brother that was played back then seemed to be a little bit more abrasive. Like, I feel like you saw, I mean, not even a little. It was, saw a real beef in there. And it seems like now it's a little bit more friendly. Like, what's the difference from the house you played in versus some of the ones you started watching?
I think we were too nice. I really do think we were too nice. Rachel had mentioned that back in her day where it was this side of the house, this side of the house. I don't like you, you don't like me. We're gonna go head up. Our house was very intertwined. We didn't really hate people. It was like although I think Rachel did hate Zay. To keep it real, I think she hated Zay, but I don't think as a whole in the house with the 17 house guests. It was never a situation where I legitimately don't like you. There were times where there were moments, but then what it didn't show, you could see the sunglasses. Okay, let's go back to Keanu and Jimmy beef. That was good TV.
It was.
30 minutes later, they hugging it out and everything is cool and we eating together. Or Ava and her one-liners. Going at Vinny or going at whoever.
Vinny the Lip.
It was cool. It was great, but then we're back cool again. There was never a time in the Big Brother house where we were angry with one another longer than an hour. We were back having family dinner. Rachel said that was different too. Like, they didn't have family dinners before. We ate dinner together so many times in that house and talked and did silly games. Every so often, but there was never that true, traditional, I want you bad, or I'm going to snatch the veto from you, or I'm gonna get in your face and do all these different things. It was manufactured beef. It was never real deal beef in that house. I don't know. And what we was doing, we didn't know like how America was taking it.
Yeah.
We didn't feel are we boring? That was when we were like is America tuning us out because we're not doing that beef, whatever. But I think the cast that they chose actually kind of liked each other, and which was weird because I was expecting. I told my wife, it's like I don't want to be in a situation where somebody's coming at me because I know how I'm going to react, like how Angela did, last season, day 2 with Matt.
Oh my goodness.
That was day 2. So that never happened in our house like that. And sometimes, because when it's manufactured beef, I put my head down, like laughing to myself, like this is so fake. But it is what it is.
Now, I want to ask about this as a whole, the experience. You mentioned, you've been in the military, you've been abroad, like doing service, and been in some challenging situations. But you also said that this is in the list of one of your most challenging things that you've ever done.
For sure.
Why exactly is that? Is it the age difference, or is there more to it?
I think it was a combination of everything. I think it was a combination of being older. I think it was a combination of being vulnerable. So with the mics and the cameras 24 hours a day, you throw in not being able to talk to your family. And wherever I've been stationed at in the Army, I've always had access to my family. I've always had the ability to even in deployed environment to pick up a phone and call back or email or something. Big Brother House, you don't have any of those things. You are in your thoughts 24 hours a day. You have no distractions. So when you're in an environment and you're in that bubble where you can't have television, you can't have phone, you can't have any of those things, you can't reach back to your family and your friends, and you are the oldest one and you don't have your people. So I was lonely from day 1 to day 66 in the house because of those reasons. And to that point, I had never been away from my wife longer than 5 days. So you throw that in there with my best friend, and I'm not able to have those conversations that, like, I have a bad day, or I jacked up my knee, or I jacked up my calf, or I just want to cuss somebody out. But you can't do it on those things. You are there stuck while also being vulnerable for millions of people. And 24 hours a day, the live feeds are insane. We say, like on the show, man, are they doing live feeds right now? Or is the camera on us? Because we don't know. But then after the fact, like, okay, they were doing live feeds all the time. They saw every single thing. So every single conversation that we had, somebody was saying was recording it or filming or whatever. So sometimes, like, you're in your thoughts, you're in your feelings, but you can't hide. So you have folks like Ava who got in the bed and try to tuck away. You have myself, I put on my glasses, my shades, whatever, and try to decompress because you can't get away from people. You're always, and then, production, okay, it will pump you up. So you got to have these conversations. You got to do these things. And sometimes you're like, I'm so tired of just mentally done, and you just want to just get away, just hide in the bathroom. Just do something just for a few minutes where you can have a little space or not have the same conversation you had before or not just feel. Everybody dealt with their loneliness in ways. Kelly had her moments where she just wanted to give up. Rachel had her moments. Ava, myself, everybody had different times where they would just Keanu was in Jury House. Me and Keanu didn't talk a lot in the house, but in the Jury House, I was like, dude, man, you should have worked together. He's a great guy, but we were on different sides of the house, and I never saw the real Keanu until I got to the Jury House. But the dynamic, Lauren, Lauren is so cool. I got to the Jury House, like, girl, you should have showed that, with the national audience, because they were saying she was boring and all those things. She's really not. But I was thinking the same thing. It's a crazy mind thing that's going on in the house that I never experienced before, which is so different than real life. I've been in uncomfortable situations in the military, in harm's way, bombs flying overhead, but I've never felt so alone as I felt in the Big Brother house.
Now, you also did mention, though, that you felt like you were there for a reason.
Right.
To help change some young people's lives and
Yeah.
even improved you as a person. How
Yes.
did that happen?
It happened organically. What I started doing more in the house, I started praying more. I started reading the Bible. So I was reading the Bible in the morning and in the evening before I go to bed. And that helped me keep focus and stay in a good space in the house. What I saw with the kids were some of the kids were hurting. They were hurting in the house, but also some of the times the kids were hurting some of the things that happened outside of the house. So some of the kids were brought baggage into the Big Brother house. And we would share our experiences. We would share, and some of the things didn't make it because we would, before we do a live show, we go to a place and we're concealed, so to speak, and we can talk almost freely. So some of the stories we would have in those moments were really touching, where they can actually be real vulnerable and talk, freely about home life or their relationships or their family life, and I can be vulnerable talking about my experiences in the military or raising my children and it was a lot of questions about my relationship with my wife, because I was always the biggest cheerleader for her, and so those conversations would happen, and what I started seeing was the kids would be, watching every single word, hearing everything that I'm saying, and just focused on me. I was like, we having story time with Captain Will. This is awesome. and then even outside of the house, I get the text messages checking up on me, I get the DMs checking up on me, things like that. So I think that we established something, or they established something with me as my kids, my additional bonus children, in addition to, because I always say Ava and Ashley is my bonus kids, but I'm close with Morgan. I'm close with Kelly. I got a lot closer with Kelly over the last few weeks in the jury house. My wife and I did dinner with Kelly and Corey after.
I saw that.
They are so awesome. I love Corey. He is such a great kid. She has a good one in Corey, and Kelly is who she is. She is weird. She is quirky, but she is a great soul. Some of that came out during the house. I saw more of it in the jury house. Okay. And we got close. I'm probably gonna text her later today. We got close. So some of the things that you see in the house aren't necessarily what it actually means, because you don't have. We're with the cameras and the microphones. Some folks don't want to be completely vulnerable. When you're in a jury house, you are vulnerable. You are that person. You're no longer hiding. And I would say the folks that I really do love, those folks. I really do. And it's a weird love, because it's not a love that you like, hey, I want to call this person, we're going to talk for 2 hours. It's not that type of love. But it is a love where I know that I can count on those kids, and they know that they can count on me. Now,
we'd be remiss to end this without talking about your chocolate drop. You shouted out Gwen several times.
Yeah.
You said you were spoiled. Especially, it was funny because you mentioned when Mickey and Rachel left, you're spoiled with the cooking there, and you're spoiled with Gwen's cooking. What did you look forward to meeting back with your chocolate drop after so long?
This is so crazy, because this is a video of Gwen made sure, my chocolate drop made sure that she was there in LA when I came out of the house. So it's a crazy video where she surprises me coming out of the hotel room, so which is amazing. That's my best friend. She is my best friend. I love that girl to death. And God, I prayed for her. She prayed for me, and it was always unbelievable. And I believe that God answers prayers, and she was my prayer. So that was crazy. But being on the show and me having the ability to talk about my best friend, my wife, every single day was unbelievable. Profess, protect, and provide. Those are three things that I live by, and that's how. I believe that's why we have a successful relationship, because I know my role. I know I'm spoiled. I know I am spoiled, America. My wife has spoiled me, and then going to the house, I was still spoiled because they took care of the old man. But I don't ever want to be away from my wife that long in any capacity. Life is too short for me, and it's just we click. She's my baby, and I love her. I love her to death.
That's amazing, T. I want you to know every time you said shout out my chocolate drop, similar to last season with Cam, shout out my doctor. That was the line, I think. Every time in the diary room, eviction night, whatever.
Yeah.
That was the line everyone remembered from the season.
Yes.
So that and Keanu's line to Ava.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
But anyways, Will, is there anything else you want to add before we wrap this thing up?
Oh, I mean, make sure you subscribe to my podcast, Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will. Is talking exclusively South Carolina women's basketball. My wife and I, my chocolate drop, we got a podcast, relationship podcast that we're working on. It's gonna be called Steady Love, and then we obviously the Big Brother house has opened up a lot of different avenues. I didn't tell Matt, but I'll tell you right now. I've been asked to announce women's basketball game November the 16th. Yeah, I'm letting you know right now, November the 16th, Liberty versus Duke. So I'm doing that. Yeah, so that's gonna be awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be on ESPN Plus. So I'm taking all the opportunities.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, brother. All the opportunities from the Big Brother house and the podcast, and just rolling them all together and see what happens. So thank you. This has been amazing. Working with you guys, so I hope to come back and hopefully soon, and we'll chop it up all over again.
Well, congrats on that, and we're only a month away from basketball season.
Oh my gosh!
So I know we'll see you at the CLA pretty soon. So I can't wait for that. So congrats on everything. It was a pleasure watching your season.
Thank you, brother.
If you want to catch more content like this, make sure you subscribe to our podcast, South Carolina Sideline.
Yes.
We drop episodes twice a week, including Gamecock, actually 3 times a week now that it's football season. We drop the previews and our post-game reactions, so make sure you subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, anywhere you get your podcasts. Subscribe to us. Will, thank you so much for joining us.
You.
I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much.
South Carolina Sideline for Matt Dowell. I'm Jared Parker. Captain Will, thank you.
Thank you.